You're not afraid of the dark, are you?
In the world of professional boxing, glory and honor are fought for under the bright lights. But in the shadows, a darker side of the sport exists, where the desperate do anything to win. This is boxing's dirty secrets. Today, we're looking at the boxing glove. It's supposed to be a symbol of a fair fight, a tool designed to regulate combat and establish a sacred trust between two warriors. But what happens when that trust is broken? What happens when the glove is turned into a hidden weapon? We're digging into the dark art of glove tampering, a forbidden practice that twists protective gear into an instrument of devastating damage. We'll expose the shocking methods and reveal the infamous scandal where a champion was caught red handed, casting a dark shadow over his entire career. This isn't just a story about breaking rules, it's about a crime that was nearly committed in front of millions, leaving a permanent scar on the sport. January 24th, 2009, the Staples Center in Los Angeles is electric, buzzing for a welterweight world title fight. In one corner stood Antonio Margarito, the reigning WBA champion, a feared brawler from Tijuana. He had a reputation for overwhelming opponents with relentless pressure and crushing power. His iron chin and knockout punch had made him a star. He was a warrior, and he seemed indestructible. In his way stood Sugar Shane Mosley, a future Hall of Famer and a legend in his own right. A 37, many saw him as the underdog against the younger, stronger champion. But one person wasn't intimidated: Mosley's veteran trainer, Nazim Richardson. Richardson was a sharp, old school boxing mind who carried a lifetime of hard won wisdom. He knew that in a high stakes fight, the real battle often begins long before the first bell. On that night, his suspicion and vigilance would uncover one of modern boxing's most notorious scandals, just as it was about to unfold. The drama didn't happen under the bright lights of the ring, but in the tense, tight confines of the dressing room. As a tradition, Nazim Richardson went to Margarito's locker room to inspect his opponent's hand wraps before the gloves went on. It's usually a routine formality, a quick check to ensure fairness, right? But Richardson immediately knew something was wrong. As he felt the wrap, he discovered a strange, hard object over the knuckles. He refused to let it go. Richardson demanded that the California State Athletic Commission officials investigate this. Margarito's trainer, Javier Capetillo, tried to dismiss it as a mistake, but his protests, they grew louder, insisting the wraps be completely undone. The officials relented and cut them open. Just minutes before the fighters were scheduled to walk out, the secret was exposed, and the entire event was thrown into chaos. When the commission officials unwrapped Margarito's hands, they made a disturbing discovery. Hidden inside the gauze was a moist, plaster like substance. An investigation later confirmed the substance contained calcium and sulfur, the key ingredients of plaster of Paris. Had Richardson not caught it, the moisture from Margarito's sweat would have mixed with the powder, hardening his wraps into solid casts. around his fist. He would have been hitting Shane Mosley not with a padded glove, but with a rock hard weapon. The discovery sent shockwaves through the sport. This wasn't just cheating, it was a premeditated plan to inflict serious injury. Suddenly, the unnatural power behind Margarito's past victories was called into question, especially his brutal knockout of Miguel Cotto the year before, a fight that left Cotto's face horribly disfigured. Many in the boxing world now believe he used the same illegal method in that fight and potentially others. Margarito had always denied knowing about the loaded wraps, blaming his trainer, who claimed it was an innocent mistake. But for the most, the damage to his legacy was already done. For Antonio Margarito, the consequences were severe. The California State Athletic Commission revoked the boxing license of both Margarito and his trainer, Javier Capito, for 1 year. The fight with Mosley went ahead that night, but only after Margarito's hands were legally rewrapped. Mentally shaken and exposed, Margarito was completely dominated by Shane Mosley, who delivered a crushing ninth round TKO victory. While Margarito did eventually fight again, his reputation was permanently shattered. He became the sport's most infamous villain, a man caught trying to use weapons instead of fists. His career was never the same, and he will forever be remembered more for this scandal than for any of his world titles. The incident served as a stark reminder of the potential for career ending damage when a fighter abandons the rules for a criminal advantage. A major controversy erupted just before the 2014 mega fight between Floyd Mayweather and Marcos Maidana. During the pre-fight inspection, Mayweather's team examined Maidana's custom Everlast MX gloves and immediately protested. They argued the gloves had almost no padding around the knuckle area, giving Maidana a dangerous edge. The dispute grew so heated that the fight was nearly called off. Ultimately, Maidana was forced to wear a different, more padded pair of gloves. The incident highlighted the intense scrutiny now required behind the scenes to prevent foul play. More recently, heavyweight champion Tyson Fury has faced persistent glovegate accusations, particularly after his fights with Deontay Wilder. Online theorists claim that Fury manipulated his gloves by not inserting his hand fully, allowing the floppy wrist portion to strike with an unpadded surface. However, boxing experts have widely debunked this, explaining the visual is caused by Fury's loose, flickering punch style and physique of a large glove in motion. Despite the lack of evidence, the story shows how, in the age of social media, even the accusation of tampering can haunt a fighter's legacy. Scandals and suspicions have forced boxing commissions worldwide to become much stricter. Today, the hand wrapping process is watched like a hawk. An official from the Athletic Commission and a representative from the opposing camp must be present in the dressing room, observing the entire procedure. The tape used can't cover the knuckles, and applying any substance to the wrap is completely forbidden. Gloves are typically provided by the promoter and are inspected and sealed by the commission. They cannot be twisted, mashed, or manipulated in any way. Organizations like the WBC have launched campaigns calling glove tampering a criminal act. They've even created gloves with special labels to track usage, suggesting a glove be retired after 30 rounds to ensure padding integrity. Referees are also required to inspect hand wraps after a fight to confirm they remain. These rules are a direct response to the scandals of the past, but they only work if everyone involved acts with integrity. What do you believe is the right punishment for a cheat caught planning to cause that kind of harm? Was a 1 year ban enough for what Antonio Margarito was preparing to do to Shane Mosley? Legal. A boxing glove is so much more than just padding. It's what separates a regulated sport from a brutal street fight. It represents the fragile trust that every fighter will compete with honor. When that trust is broken, when the wraps are loaded with plaster, the glove is no longer a piece of sports equipment. It becomes a weapon. The story of Antonio Margarito is a permanent reminder of just how high the stakes are. Tampering with gloves doesn't just steal a win, it shatters careers, destroys legacies, and attacks the very soul of boxing. It leaves us with a difficult question. In a sport this brutal, where do you draw the line between competition and a crime? And how do we ensure it's never crossed again? Well, guys, I'm Jab Queen Boxing, and this has been another episode of Boxing's Dirty Secrets. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe.
Afraid of the dark, are you?